Hello, I'm Ilka Oster,
And I'm Jo Drennan.
and today we're talking about relationships, aren't we, Jo?
We are.
Yes, it's an interesting topic, and one of the things that we tend to say, especially when we start out in a relationship, is your partner makes you happy. You know, it's something that you hear a fair bit. Is it true?
Well, immediately I want to say, yeah, my partner makes me happy because
Yeah.
I'm happy when I'm around him, or happy when I'm around friends who are similar to me, who make me feel good. But really, all the work that I've done, I know that no one can make me feel. Anyway, it's all up to me about how I feel.
But surely when, your partner comes home, maybe he's been away, when he walks through the door, isn't he making you feel happier? Like by
Yes.
coming home and being in a
Yes.
good mood?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So.
Yeah.
I know what you're getting at here. We need to get down into it because yes, I do feel happy when he's there, and this is like when I visit people I know I don't get on very well with. I shut down before I go see them. So that's a bit controlling, actually, isn't it? I can't be myself in front of them.
Okay, and was that like, how did that pan out in relationships before?
Terrible.
Okay, because I think when you're 50-ish and I'm getting there, and when we started back in our 20s, there was a lot of stuff we didn't know, wasn't there?
Yes, a thing or two. Yes.
And I think luckily you grow as a person. But I think particularly when you're starting a relationship, and back then, and perhaps if you haven't kind of worked this whole theory out that you're the one in control of your feelings, you tend to think that the other person is either making you happy or that you're not in control. What they do can influence you.
So when we're in a relationship and my partner does something that upsets me, don't I have the right to feel upset at what they have done to me?
Yeah, so there you go. That's an interesting way to put it. They did it to you.
Yeah.
So who's the one who's upset?
I'm upset.
Right. Now, no, not saying that, yes, you can't communicate. Like you can't communicate. So what would be a scenario? What's an example of when that's happened?
Okay, well, this is not a personal one, but I thought this was a brilliant one where a woman has she's recently had their first baby, and she doesn't feel confident about her body, and they head out together, and she notices her husband looking at another woman, and she's extremely upset with him, or what feels like with him. But I know what's going on deep down.
Oh, what's that?
She's when they get to it, so she attacks him,
Right.
but in the end, when they get to it and they're able to communicate, she's upset that she's still got her baby body and she doesn't feel attractive, and she actually wants him to support her in being able to go out and do some physical activity and get to be feeling good about herself again.
And so it's so interesting, isn't it, the languaging? Because Jo just said she wants him to make her... Well, I don't think it was quite that, but it's like she wants him to support her.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's interesting how we kind of put it on the other person, that's either their job or whatever to support you to get back to your body and I've probably experienced a similar thing, and I'm not saying that you don't perhaps get upset or whatever like that, but in the end, you're the one who has to start taking responsibility and start supporting yourself to get your body in the way. If you keep waiting for somebody else to do it, Not that you can't ask them for support. You can communicate that you need support.
Well, support.
But in that scenario, she's all upset about it, and perhaps then that's usually the time you don't actually communicate your needs.
Well, that's right. Well,
You just get all triggered and you're like cranky.
Yes. The support in this case meant not emotional support, but him coming home earlier a couple of days a week so that he could look after the child and she could go to the gym. But what you're saying, well, if I can't ask my partner for support, why bother being in a relationship at all? Why not just live life alone?
Yeah, good question. And that really comes back to what in the hell are relationships? Like, why are we in them? I mean, I think I've talked about this before, but I started to realise that relationships were about personal growth. And when I was using them like that, I kept myself in a much better place. When I was starting to blame my husband for everything or think that he needed to make me happy, it just didn't work because it all had, unfortunately, like, it'd be great. I'm not saying you can't ask for support, but in the end, you are the one that has to take yourself to the gym. Your husband can't like pick you up every day and take you there. I mean, they can help drive you there, but they can't, be physically pulling you out of bed every single day. And, that's, if you take it to the nth degree, you can see that in the end, it always comes back to you having to do the changing or do the, and then being able to communicate those needs to him, so that yes, maybe you will come home. Great, fantastic. If you can come home earlier and help take you to the gym or whatever, that's fantastic. But if you keep blaming him, it also becomes a great excuse too, because it's like, he doesn't help me.
Yes.
So then you can keep that excuse, and so you don't have to actually do any like changing yourself. You just complain to everybody that they don't help you.
Also, the big lesson.
I've done all of that.
Also, the big lesson out of that is that initially she goes to blaming him for looking at another woman and attacking him.
Yeah.
When really the problem is far deeper than that, and it's about herself and her self-esteem. It's really it could be looked at, and this is something I've learned too when I look at relationships as personal growth, that him doing what he did and her getting angry is actually an opportunity.
An opportunity. Definitely. Yeah. And it's noticing what's going on in herself, and then, when you're really, really triggered by something like that you're in the absolute worst place to then communicate your needs, because you're going to be communicating from anger or from resentment or from blame, and that's not going to end well.
No.
In fact, you're maybe going to just keep going round and round in circles. And the kind of core wounds that we've had as children, whether they're I'm not good enough or nobody listens to me, was one that I kind of had. And so usually it would, if you can't kind of get to understand perhaps what your childhood wounding was, then you'll notice that showing up in those situations. And I would almost guarantee that girl felt perhaps not good enough by a parent, whether it was a father or a mother, something like that. And that's what's really showing up in that scenario. And so she has to address that.
So this is interesting because although we might say that we didn't like the way we were parented, or we actually do tend to attract similar people into our lives to continue teaching us the same lesson over and over.
Yeah, so if you have a really big I'm not good enough program, or like for me, you have a big no one listens to me program, you get a husband who's really, really quiet, and he is a great listener, but I would often want him to, I wanted to make him say like the right things, and of course he's just listening and doing his thing, and I was wanting something different. But he was the perfect person for me if I really stopped and thought about, if I've got to face my own issues, this is the perfect. He would always trigger me, so I always had an opportunity to work on, growing in myself and taking more responsibility for myself, and that became much more fun and much better for both of us, for me to do that than to keep saying, oh, he doesn't listen or whatever. Yeah,
putting the blame on him.
Yeah, but it does take. It's kind of like, I call it like swallowing a pill, because you've got to kind of swallow your own pride, or I don't know what it is, but it's difficult. It's easier to blame the other person. Joe.
Oh, it's far easier. We don't have to look in the mirror. We don't have to look at ourselves, look at our role within the relationship.
Yeah.
It's interesting that, so you're in a marriage that's just over 20 years now, and I was married for 20 years, but I chose divorce. Because I wasn't looking in the mirror. I didn't, like you, I didn't find out about or didn't believe that relationships were an opportunity for personal growth until just recently, after I'd chosen divorce.
Yeah, I think I worked this out about 7 years in. The 7-year kind of mark is normally one where it can be make or break. 14 years, 21 years. I don't know what it is about sevens, but there even in children, they're a developmental milestone. It's usually where you're going through. So yeah, it's a good. I would encourage people to start seeing, if they start to see their marriage as a personal growth tool, and that this mirroring principle where your husband or spouse or partner is a mirror to you. And another thing, I suppose, that happens sometimes is that you'll also start to think, well, I'm the one doing all the personal growth work. I'm the one who's more evolved. I'm the one who knows all about my emotions. He's not doing that. And I would really say that usually if you're in a relationship with somebody, you are around the same evolutionary frequency, vibration, whatever you want to call it, as what they are. And saying that you're just not quite looking close enough in the mirror.
This one is really huge for women, especially, I think, who tend to seek more of the personal growth, but also who tend to show emotion more. Obviously, that's not me. Yeah. But we tend to think that yes, we're the ones who are more evolved here, but it's just not possible. We attract what we are.
We do, and often things like where you're saying something like, my husband's controlling me, or my husband's those kind of things. Really, sometimes something like control might be. He might be doing it in a way that's totally different to you, because you can have people who are very outward in their control, and then there's ways of controlling people by just staying quiet or just not agreeing. In fact, the person with the least desire for anything in the marriage, whether it's sex or whatever, or the things that you want to accumulate in the marriage, or anything that you want to do in your marriage, if you have the least desire for that particular thing, then you are usually in control. And that was a massive lesson for me too, to understand that.
That is a massive lesson, but that concept is a little challenging to understand, because I see out there in the world, when you see marriages where if one person tends to be louder and more aggressive and ego-driven, you say that, well, they're obviously controlling. But then there could be the quiet one within the relationship. And so you're saying that it's possible that they, in fact, are more controlling.
Well, you just have to look at it like this. That there's one person who wants something in the relationship. Say it's more sex. They want more sex. So if you're the person who doesn't want that, then that person is not getting what they want. So this is where the conflict arises, and if so there, that's where the least desire partner has the most control over the situation. It was very helpful for me to understand that, because I was the one whinging and whining perhaps about, well, that subject in particular, early on in the marriage, that, but when I worked that out, I was like, wow, I didn't think I was the one controlling it,
Right.
but I was.
So you were.
But I was. That's it. So then I had to shift into saying, well, what if it was the other way around? When I want something really, like I want my husband to spend more time with the children. Perhaps that would have been something that I would have been perhaps desiring. I'm going back to early on in my marriage.
Yeah.
Then and perhaps he's working, or that for him that's hard at the moment. Then so that's not perhaps as much least desire, but I'm trying to think of something where their desire is not as great. Okay. Because if their desire is there, they'll make it happen.
Okay, what about to build financial well-being?
Yeah. Or to actually discuss things about financial, or discuss your dreams and your goals. See, for me, that was a big one. And so I would get really triggered around not being able to discuss that with my husband in a way that I wanted to. But because I was triggered, I wasn't asking in the right way either. I would probably say things like, "Oh, well, you don't want to do this," terrible. And as opposed to just saying, "Well, could we? Because men like direction. Could we just sit down?" I mean, you don't want to be going, "You don't want to do this." It's better to say, "Well, what about Saturday? Could we have a meeting on Saturday?"
Yeah.
When you're not in a triggered state, you can do those kind of things. Yeah, it's taken me a long time to learn this stuff, Jo. Long time.
Me too. Still learning
As a
every day,
child
aren't
for
we?
so long.
Every day.
Yeah, because when you're in those triggered states, you're much more childish. Like you're not just speaking like an adult would. Yeah.
Go immediately back to that part of your brain that's not necessarily logical.
Yeah. It's more all the stuff you learn as a child as to how to get your way with your parent. You're doing all that, like manipulation and all sorts of stuff comes into it that's just not helpful.
So communication is the answer, but open, honest communication, perhaps not right when we're triggered, are you saying? But to perhaps go away from your partner and say, "Look, I'm having trouble with this, but I can't speak about it right now. Can I come back to you?"
Yeah, definitely. This is absolutely huge. And I don't think, I didn't know how much I was being triggered. I wasn't really aware of that concept at around seven years into my 20-year marriage. I was aware that I needed to take personal responsibility. And then all these feelings, though, would come up in my body, and I would get angry, or I would get... So I know now, looking back, whenever I was in that state, like we just went around in circles. Nothing ever was resolved. And so it's not until you start addressing, well, where's this anger coming from? And it's normally coming from your past, nothing to do with your husband. It's all this stuff you haven't addressed. So you do. You need to go away and have a look at that.
and start to understand your own needs. I don't think as we grow up, we're not taught to understand our own needs, values and boundaries. And then when you come into a relationship and pressure's put on you, and you don't even know yourself well enough to communicate what your needs, values and boundaries are.
Yeah, that's it. No, I really had no idea who I was. Did you?
No. No, I'm still not sure. Still getting there.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
So here we are in relationships, not even knowing totally who we are yet.
that's why if we consider them a tool for personal growth, we'll be in a much better space.
Yeah, and stop with the someone can make me sad or make me happy. It's actually, you know, I would just see if you can entertain the idea that that is actually not possible. That somebody can make you, because I know we all kind of, we are all one. That's my belief. Like, we're not really separate. We're the same frequency. We're little floating atoms. Getting a bit woo-woo.
We'll discuss that another day.
But but if you do, it's more about taking personal responsibility though. These kind of ideas will really stop you going towards blame and help you to start going towards personal responsibility
And a healthier relationship.
Definitely, where you can communicate your needs in a really adult-like fashion. I've done a lot of the opposite.
Yeah, I've done a lot of not communicating my needs.
Yeah, well, that's another thing, to shut down completely. Yeah, that's a good controlling mechanism too.
Absolutely,
isn't it?
yes,
Yeah.
the quiet controller.
So none of this is very easy, but I hope that it's given people a few ideas and tips, and that they can go out and have a better relationship with themselves and therefore with their intimate partners.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks
Yay.
for watching. Thanks
Yes.
for listening.
Yes. We're going to finish with our
Oh,
inspire someone today.
Yeah, we can try to do it together.
Okay, ready, go.
Inspire someone today. Possibly even your partner.
Yes.
Yourself.
Yes.
Inspire yourself today.
Yeah.
Get inspired today.
Yeah.
See you next time.
Bye. Hello, Joe Drennan. No.
So stilted.
Relax.
Yeah.